English tutorial. Exactly. So time to tell us how to pronounce whatever it is you are pronouncing.
Smooth.
How do we keep our mouth? Yes, is it smooth? Who wants to teach us? I should go ahead. Smooth. My own journey was, do you want to teach us? Now. Okay, we'll be starting shortly. I'm just trying to buy time. I know you are ready, and we are ready as well. If you have a friend that is supposed to be here, call them. Tell them to be fast, so that by the time they come and knock the door, come. It will not be a case of a no-day house. Please don't record all this part though. We've not started. Cut it. We've not started though. If we even have folder on your table. Ha! You met it there. Do we all have folders on our table? Okay. Okay, we are going to start now, and I'll just go ahead and introduce our MC, compare whichever English they call it. I'll read his profile and just hand over to him to do his thing. So Benedict Dias-Stokes, I hope I got that, is a product designer and the founder of Business Bee Africa, a platform dedicated to exploring the journeys of entrepreneurs and startup founders who are creating solutions to everyday challenges faced by Africans. Through its podcast, which has featured over 50 industry leaders, Business Bee Africa shares stories of innovation and impact. Additionally, the platform offers digital marketing consultancy services, helping startups, whether market ready or already established, gain the visibility they need to succeed. So if your hands are not busy, I would like us to just clap as we welcome Benedict.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Hi, welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Moving with the Cheese 3.0. I need you guys to chair. The theme we will be having is building bridges and pathways to success. My name is Benedict Dias. I'll be your host for today. Who was here for 2.0, please? Just show of hands. Show of hands, please. Who was here? Like, don't be shy. We don't bite here. Who was here? Okay, so I would really like, can I get a mic? I would really like to hear his experience from the last conversation. Don't tell me you forgot, please. Please, can you just tell us what you learned from the last conversation? No, a sentence, not one word. All right. Thank you. I think there's someone at the back. There's someone at the back that raises. Okay, her hand, please. Who is helping you, Mike? Okay, check.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, so I learned about whatever you find yourself in life, especially when you find yourself in a new organization. Maybe you lost your job and you need to train yourself for the next opportunity. You cannot just be close-minded and say, I'm not a product designer or this or that. You have to move with the cheese and get trained for the next job. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, what this simply says is 2.0 was really good. Anyone that was here in 2.0 know that it had a lot of impact made. Now, I was reading through the profile of 3.0 and the speakers that will be coming up today. You will be hearing from some of the most intelligent and smartest individuals within happening right now. And I really hope you brought your pens to actually note down and get ready. I'll be calling Adebola, please. Adebola. Hi.
Hi,
Good morning.
Okay. All right, so I'm supposed to basically just talk about the posture we're supposed to have. I'm fortunate to be part of the people doing the groundwork for this project. And I remember the very first moving with the cheese, and I actually made up my mind that I wasn't just going to do the running around, but I was going to listen and get something. And boy, there was a lot of things to get. Looking through my note, this was 2023, that's just last year. We have a returning speaker, and that's Fair, and he gave us a lot of powerful nuggets. Some of the things that he said was about skills, and that a lot of people focus on, I want to learn a new skill. They want to move with what everybody's learning. Oh, I'm going into tech. And he was more like, you need to focus on how to learn that skill, right? How do you learn? Don't just move with what everybody is doing, but try to see whether that's what's relevant for you now. So he gave an analogy and talked about everybody trying to dig for gold and moving with digging for gold. But if you actually sit down, you'd realize that what you should learn is how to make the shovel. And that was powerful because, if everybody is digging for gold and you actually learn how to make the shovel, you're going to make more money, right? So basically, it's just to open up your mind and to realize that nobody's going to tell you this is the next big thing to do and say, okay, move into oil and gas. Sorry, oil and gas no longer. Move into tech. Pardon me, I have a code. Yeah, because I'm not sounding like myself. Okay, so I'll move into this or that. Nobody's going to come here to tell you what to do. But if you open your mind, right, and you're in tune, you would really realize that there's a lot that you would pick from here. And basically how you learn a skill is as important as the skill you learn and how relevant you are. It's very fascinating that we've always stuck with moving with the cheese because why? The cheese is constantly moving at every point in time. I remember then towards the, he mentioned how the current administration is going to affect exchange rates and dollar and everything. And I sat down somewhere around there and I was taking notes. I took a long note, right? And when we're planning for the first session this year, it's one of the things I mentioned that do realize that there were a lot of things that were said last year that are so key and so important right now. So we cannot afford to just take it as they were ticking a box or we're just attending this. So please, I want you to open up your mind and work together and you realize a lot of ideas and great things will come out from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you a whole lot. Thank you. I think we'll call you you have to start prophesying and telling us the next things we should put our heads in. So I'll call
pivots. I will be lying to you if I say I know of a certainty, but you just observe seasons, right? So some businesses have seasons, right? When God was taking care of Elijah, right? There was a time the raven was bringing food to Elijah, right? And that season just ended. God just said, okay, we need to pivot to another business. I've provided food for you with the Zarephath, right? So you also need to just know, okay, this season is over, I need to prepare. And there will be lots of things that the business will be telling you, right? So observe your customers, right? Your customers saying, and also observe your environment, right? Look at what is obtainable globally, right? So then also look at similar markets, right? So Nigeria, when it comes to tech, is similar to in maybe India, Indonesia, some other markets. Look at what is obtainable in all those places, right?
You have to be able to make sacrifices for the things that you want to achieve, and you have to be able to deny yourself of some certain pleasures. For 5 years, when I was writing CFA, I used to wake up at 2 a.m. every day. Why? Because I have kids to attend to. I have kids that will go to school. Me, myself, I have to go to work. So 2 to 5 every morning, I'll wake up to read for 3 hours before I get everybody ready for school, before I start my day at work at 8 o'clock. So if you are seeing me at 8 o'clock, I didn't start at 8 o'clock. All right, I started my day earlier. Why? Because I was making a sacrifice. And I knew that anytime you make sacrifices, it's not going to be forever. It's just for a season. Everything you would achieve in life is through relationships. The job I'm doing now, it was a friend that dropped my CV 2 years before. If you are leaving a place of employment, you don't need to lock the door when you are going. Most people, they'll say, I'm resigning, and then you turn everybody there into your enemies. You know, this world is a dot. It's not even small. This world is a dot. It's either you meet them again or you meet somebody that knows them again. A former boss has given me an opportunity to work somewhere else before. And that's because I didn't close the door. I didn't burn the bridge. Don't be somebody that burns the bridge.
Don't think of moving cheese as a big thing that you have to, go quit your job and become a tech bro, or just moving across industries. Even in your full-time job, the cheese is constantly moving. You need to follow the money trail. No matter how bad you think your job is, you need to excel at it. You need to be the best version of yourself. So you can code, you can develop an app. Can you sell it? What else can you add to that thing? You have to be extra. The extra, sometimes it's very little things. It's not the big things. You've seen that the cheese is moving from one area to the other. Sometimes you just need to put it all down and take that leap. Take that leap intelligently. Take that leap with data. Take the leap with information. Change will happen. When it happens, will you adapt or will you complain?
You need to find what you're really good at fundamentally, and then be flexible enough to translate it into the industries and the spaces that you see the world going to. When you discover that cheese has moved, what should you learn? I can come here today and I say, learn how to code, learn how to use computers. Something can happen in the next 3 months that everything I said today becomes useless. A lot of things that people find valuable now will not be valuable. I genuinely believe that in the next 3 years, the world is going to change faster than it changed in the last 20 years because of artificial intelligence. So the goal is not to predict where the world is going. The goal is to teach yourself what to learn and how to learn. So you are watching it as it's changing, and the moment you can figure out, I think this is where it's going, what do I need to learn to be relevant there? You would need to learn skills, but that's not what you should bother yourself about.
The means to where you want to get to is your salary, which is the base. That salary that you are holding on to, how do you begin to invest that thing? When you read, you see when Jesus said he gave one 5, he gave one 4, and he gave one, how many? 1. And that one went to keep it. That's keeping, which means that buried it. Jesus said that at least you should have put it in the bank, which means the least form of investment is the banking system, irrespective of whatever it is. The bank can never give you more profit than they themselves are having. So the best form of investment you can have is in yourself. And this is not in skill. This is in you projecting into the future to say to yourself, how do I, for instance, begin to multiply this salary that I have?
Thank you, Word to Media. When Godwin sent me the itinerary for yesterday, I read through it and I saw Word to Media, and I've always called it Word to Media, like W-A-T. So wrong. My apologies, Word to Media. Would like to call in Godwin for the opening remark, please. Please clap. Thank you.
I thought we were clapping. That clap is actually not for me. I just want you to exercise your hand. Good morning again, everyone, and thank you for coming. It's been months of trying to put together this event, and we are happy today it's a reality. And when we're putting together the event, we had you in mind. Over the first two editions, we've had where I'll say general, we're looking at how do we speak to everyone. In the second edition, we looked at how do we, again, still try to narrow it and make it more impactful. But one thing always stood out, that at the end of the day, we unintentionally don't always address one key area, which is entrepreneurship, people in business or people that have intention of going into that area. And like we've learned, for those of us that are TCN members, how many people are TCN members here? Okay, a good number. So that most times you have to be data driven. And we felt if we have these recurring questions and concern, why don't we try our best to address it? Now, I know not everyone here, even from the registration data, not everyone have a business yet. But we also notice that some people have intention of going into one. Some are just in that space of, I don't understand exactly how a business should be run, or do I have interest? So for us was, one, how do we ensure that people who are already running a business, who are already entrepreneurs, or whichever one, but you're already in that space, how do we help you get better? For those who are in between, you are thinking, should I not? How do we give you information that would make you take informed decision? For those who just feel, okay, I like it. I'll give you a very interesting example. We had, from the registration data, I don't know if the person is in the room, where more than one person actually said, I love entrepreneurship. If maybe the person is like me, at this stage of my life, I don't want to be called a founder yet, but I want my money to increase. And I know that one of the places my money can increase, if I give an entrepreneur my money to do trade, how do I know the right kind of entrepreneur to invest in? So basically today would be zeroing in on entrepreneurship, and we've gathered very, very solid crop of speakers. One of them who would give the keynote shortly, Sorumfe, he spoke in the first edition, and I'm not saying this because he's here, but every single month we had people asking, can I get his number? Can I speak to Sorumfe? And even when we posted his video from the past edition, I had people personally reach out to me, say, send me that video. It's so powerful. And we felt, okay, if people are asking for a particular thing, give them what they want. So we hope for those of you that are joining for the first time, you would find it impactful. Like Adebola said, we want you to have an open heart. My English teacher, I hope you are proud of me. So we want you to have an open heart. For us, we try to make it as practical as possible, right? It's not just a talk shop for us. If you've attended Moving with the Cheese before, one thing we always encourage people, don't write too many points. Look for one. If you have capacity for 2, look for 2. If you have capacity for 3, look for 3. Not more than that. So that you can execute. For me, I always say, ideas, anybody can have ideas. The key thing is execution, and we want you to execute. And with that, I'll just quickly bring up our keynote speaker. But before that, I'll read his profile. Sorumfe Uzoma is a technology leader with years of experience spanning business development, strategy, innovation, and engineering, working on projects covering multiple sectors across Africa. This experience has seen him lead teams across an array of companies to create and executes strategies aimed at driving sustainable growth and creating business impact. He's passionate about innovation and its capacity to transform people, businesses, and society. With an applause, let's welcome Soromfe Uzoma.
If I'm about to go over, you will need somebody to, 5 minutes to the time, you will need somebody to come and alert me. If not, okay. Because I can forget myself. I think I've written way more than 30 minutes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of Moving with the Cheese for the rare privilege to speak here for the second. Is this second or third? I think it's the second time. Or maybe it's even the third. I don't take that for granted. I think that, sorry, please, let me just set my alarm because I don't trust myself. But I don't take that for granted. I know that there are obviously always a large number of people who would like to speak at this sort of events. And I think that the privilege of being able to do it should not be one that one takes for granted. So I've been asked to speak on building bridges and pathways to success with a focus on entrepreneurship. So first of all, when they reached out to me, I said I would believe that there are more successful entrepreneurs or people with stronger entrepreneurship profiles around. But as I started to think about it and what I would share today and consider it, I remembered different versions of my story. So I'll share a bit of that as I start. So I was that person in secondary school who used to sell things to his schoolmates. Don't tell anybody, don't tell my parents or don't report me, but I started by selling love letters in secondary school. Then I sold Discmen. There used to be a place in Apapa called, I can't even remember the name now, but they used to have these Discmen that have been, they're bad or they may be bad. So you take a gamble, you pay maybe 500 or so, and whichever one you pick, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'll remember the name. So I started by that. I remember once I went all the way to Apapa. Somebody wanted a Discman. I had charged him maybe 4,000 naira at the time. I went to Apapa. They didn't have this. I was supposed to be in secondary school educating myself. And then I went all the way to Alaba. I found a Discman. It didn't have the cover for the battery. It was working, thank God, but it didn't have the cover for the battery. So they then sent me to another person deep inside the market that fabricates covers for Discman battery packs. I did that, came back. I got back to school that day, maybe 9 p.m. And even I was just looking at myself and saying, what is wrong with you, right? And then I got into university. I started selling laptops. I did that, finished from university, went to serve, came back. Before I came, I was having a conversation with a friend at the time, and social media hadn't even yet become a thing, but I felt it was going to become a thing. But at that time, it was being used, people were playing with it and different things, Flickr, all of those things. But I thought that there was a chance for large corporates at the time, this was 2009, to leverage social media. It wasn't a thing at the time. So I had a conversation randomly with a friend who had just started working in a very big bank in their comms department. And I explained what I thought was going to happen in social media, why I felt that every large organization anywhere in the world would need to have a strong social media presence. I know now it looks like it's obvious, but at that time it wasn't obvious. People assumed social media was just a place people went to play, right? So he said, well, come in and do a presentation. I went in, I did a presentation to the GM of the bank that led communications. And she first of all was shocked, very surprised. They were worried about the risk. I explained why being worried about the risk was irrelevant. Whether you were online as a bank or not, they were going to discuss you. So you either go there and join the conversation, or you allow somebody else to create the narrative for you. They paid me a lot of money for this short sentence that I have just shared with you. A lot of money at the time. In fact, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I converted it to dollars at that time. And I told myself that I'm not sure my career choices, given the amount of money I made from that transaction, have been the best. But anyway, after a while, I felt or I sensed that I needed to close that down. I closed that down, went into paid employment. And I'll talk about this as we move forward. The reason that I closed it down was that, and I don't know if I've explained this here before, but I quickly could see that the reason that I was able to break into that space was because the bigger players, the big marketing agencies at the time, the really big ones, had not yet seen it. So I understood that I had maybe 6 months to 1 year to play in the space, and then I needed to make a choice. Because by the time it becomes obvious, all the big organizations have contracts, right, with the big marketing agencies. In that contract, they will just need to add a line item, social media management, right? So I understood that the space that I was playing in, the opportunity I had was because the bigger players were not seeing that opportunity yet. But I understood that the moment they saw that opportunity, I would have a number of choices. My first choice would be, which was the one I took, just you've made your money, shut it down. There is no point fighting for 10 years or 15 years, number one. Number two, to try and create an organization and then sell it to a big company, right? So to be a first mover, create an organization that is large enough that I can go to one of the big companies and say, see, I've built a company, we do social media, we have all the skill set, buy me out of this company or make me a partner in your own organization and give me 20% or whatever it is, which possibly may have been the better option for me. And then the final option is to say, aluta continua, we will be a David against Goliath. We will not agree, right? I took the first option. All the options have their pros and cons, right? But today, for the conversation today, what I want to really focus on is, I really feel that there are three, when you consider building pathways for success, there are 3 things or 4 things that I want us to think about, right? And they're more or less discussion starters along with my perspective. I know they've told you that I talked about exchange rates last year. I don't have any special, I would say some things. If you think that you hear something, that's on you. That's not on me. So there are 4 areas. The first one is an understanding of self. The second one is an understanding of people. The third one I have termed understanding the game. So the game, I put the game in quotes, right? And then the fourth one is the overlay of the supernatural on all of this. We're in church, so there's a perspective from that angle, but I don't want to speak entirely from that angle so that people are able to draw insights that are practical for them in their daily lives, right? So I'll go over it again. The first one is understanding yourself. The second one is understanding people. The third one is understanding the game. In other words, your environment. And then the fourth one is how the supernatural layers on, coordinates, impacts, affects, can be utilized, leveraged in terms of these 3 areas that I have talked about. Now, there's a scripture, I think it's Isaiah 30 verse 15, that says, in returning and rest, in quietness and confidence, right? Everybody is seated in this room for a reason. Maybe you're exploring entrepreneurship, or you've been an entrepreneur for a while, or something like that. But I want to really ask you to pause. There is a challenge that I find that many people face, and it is that people run their lives from one thing to another thing, from one thing to another thing, and you can spend 30 years, 40 years just stumbling through things. You sold palm oil last year. They told you it was groundnut oil that is now moving. You moved to groundnut oil. They said, oh no, It's tech. You said, what is it in tech? They said it's data analysis. You combine groundnut oil with data analysis. While you were pushing on that data analysis, they said, no, if you can start selling black market petrol, you will make that money that you make in data analysis in 3 days. You've become a black market petrol seller. They now said, this your experience. If you can package it into a good, the world is waiting to hear your voice. Open a YouTube channel. You became a content creator. As you were doing the content creation, somebody came to you and said, this your content creation, the way you are doing it, I see that there is a star about to arise in you. If you can combine this content creation with small MMM, collect money from people, use that money, trade crypto, do forex, you double the money in 1 month, give them back their money, you have made money, you started to collect money from people. As they gave you that one, you put the first one in the forex, it disappeared. You put the second one, it disappeared. The last one in your hand, they now say, if you just buy land in Ekpe and you divide the land into 30 plots, you will multiply that money by 40, right? So you have gone to buy land in Ekpe, right? And while I have given a very dramatic example, for many people, this is the story. They're just lurching from one thing to another thing. Hoping and, okay, let's not even go in that direction. But just hoping that magically, if you ask them, they will say miraculously. But magically, if you are being honest, that magically something will happen and they will blow, right? Now, I think I talked about probability last time, but there's somebody may do this and it will work for them, just like somebody may play Bet Niger and it will work for them. But the guarantee that you have is that most people that do it, 99.99999% of them, it will not work. One of the things that I hope and I pray that in having this conversation we're able to do today, and I don't think I'll be able to go through everything I have here in the time I have, so we'll see how far we can get there, but is that, and that's what I started with, I really want you to pause and ask yourself, and this is, I'm already talking about self and understanding yourself. What do I want? Like, what do I really, 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 really want? Right? Let me use myself as an example. I am not, I am not aspiring to be the global CEO of a Fortune 500 company. It's not a dream I have in my heart. You may think that I'm not ambitious. You may think that I'm not a person of faith. I don't know Jesus that well. I'm happy for you to both think that and then to also aspire to be the Fortune 500 CEO. But it is not what I want, right? How do I know that that is not what I want? There is a game I play personally, and I teach it to people that are close to me. Some people get spooked, but don't get spooked. We should be practical. Stand at the end of your life. Example, today is your 75th birthday. Right? Are we together? Today is your 75th birthday. In your mental eye, you can do this when you get home. Describe what you see on that day. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Describe are there children? Are there no children? Are you living in Lagos? Are you not living in Lagos? Is the house big? Is the house not big? Was there a car there? Was there not a car there? The people that attended that birthday, what did they say about you? Were they telling you how you were a great entrepreneur? Sometimes, by the time you do it, you will realize that what you have been telling people is your dream is not your dream. Because when you think about your 75th birthday, the thing you're running around now telling everybody is your dream and your purpose, it didn't even feature at all. If I want to do the exercise very well, I'll first of all ask you to describe that 75th birthday. By the time you finish describing it, I'll now ask you, the things you are doing today, how many of them will get you to what you have just told me happened on your 75th birthday? Right? Now, the reason I draw that out is, it's again to the point I made at the beginning. We only have one life. Only one life. And in God's mercy, by God's grace, we will all get to heaven. Right? But you don't want to get to 65, 60, 70, and realize that what you spent this one life doing does not fulfill you. Does everybody understand what I am saying? And I'm going to bring back to the context and the concept of entrepreneurship. Right? There are many definitions of entrepreneurship. There's one that I will share, or there's one perspective that I will share. But the reason that I believe in the concept of entrepreneurship, even beyond the application of business, is, and I'm skipping now, but in Genesis, the Bible says, God said, let there be light, and there was light. Things like that, right? There's a capacity in the human spirit to create. In every human spirit. And I don't want to hang it in the air. I want to make it very practical. Every human being has the capacity to see something on their inside and to bring it out from their inside and establish it on the earth. Right? Everything that we see, since we're in church, let me use that example. Everything that we see about the covenant nation, right, was what we will term in Christian perspective, a vision that was in the heart of pastor. Are we all following? Are we all following? It was just a vision in his heart. He could have killed it, and nobody will ever know, and nobody will ever judge him for it. Any company that you see, this phone was something somebody first saw on their inside and then brought out from their inside and imprinted on the world. Are we together? So, an entrepreneur is somebody who sees something on his inside, given his estimation of the things that are going on around, and then creates something from his inside, and I like to use the word imprint, because imprint implies an application of force, right? So that person says, I will create something and I will imprint it. There are a few people that people used to ask me, Sir, who are your mentors and all of that. And for a very long time, I struggled because I respect a lot of people. I learned from a lot of people. But in terms of seeing people and, really saying, this person, I struggled. But there are two people recently, or over the last year or two, that I've begun to think of and see the things that they've done. And they're, whether you like it or not, right? Dangote and Elon Musk. And everybody has their personal story and their personal opinions. It's not about their personal lives or that's not the conversation. It is that when you see their ability to have a mental vision and to create that vision against a lot of opposition, right? To me, that is the thing. That ability to do that is something every human being should experience, right? So if you approach entrepreneurship from a survival perspective, I just want to make money, I just want to open a business, you could succeed, maybe, right? But that's not really the deep level. The deeper level of this thing is to conceive something in your mind, and then by drawing the right people together, by drawing the right investments together, by applying the right principles to imprint that thing on the earth. So 4 or 5 years ago, myself and a friend decided, you know what, let's try out real estate. Let's become real estate entrepreneurs. And the person we were working with, that we partnered with, he took us to this land. It was, in the Lekki axis, and there was water. It was waterlogged, right? Now, maybe 9 months down the line, they had done the first floor decking, the second floor decking. And myself and this friend, we went there and we stood on it and we said, we were talking to ourselves and we said, this was something we dreamed about. And now we're standing on that thing. You see, that ability to dream about something and then to make that thing tangible. If you do it once and you succeed, the way that you will see life will change. So that's why I'm saying you really, really, really have to take the time to first of all sit down and understand yourself. Why am I doing this? Why am I pursuing this? Why am I pursuing the things that I say I am pursuing? Why do I wake up early in the morning, right? What am I waking up early in the morning for? Why don't I decide to play away with my life? Why am I taking life seriously? Why am I making the sacrifices that I am making? Do those sacrifices make sense in the light of the things I say I aspire to? There are a number of things. Okay, I'll use this example. It's not a great one, but I'll use it. There are many people that say, there are two things I find them very funny. There are people that say, if you sleep for, what's it again? If you sleep for 8 hours a day, it means you have slept for 1/3 of your life, right? So people just hear that and stop sleeping. Right? The assumption being that if you want to aspire, don't sleep or minimize your sleep. And what I always ask is, so when you are not sleeping, what are you doing? You're on Twitter. You're on Instagram. You might as well. So if you don't understand why you are doing something and it doesn't speak to what you are pursuing, you will just be picking principles left, right, and center, like the person jumping from business to business. You know, it's almost like you're throwing the dice. Oh, okay, every day they are, no, I don't sleep. I spend only 4 hours sleeping, and then I'm pushing. What are you doing? Explain tangibly. It's like people say to me that, oh, I read, the other one that they do is I read 50 books a year. So, the things that will change your life are not many. Let me say it again. The things that will change your life are not many. There was something Godwin said, and I found it very interesting. He said, write 1 point, right? So you can write everything that is being said, but have one that you have written as what you will do. There is no point reading 50 books that you don't remember, that you are rushing through so that you can say you read 50 books, right? There's one book that I read many years ago, and there are two things, I'll tell you both of them. Two things that I've contacted that have impacted me. One is a book by a guy called Nassim Taleb. It's called Food by Randomness. That book restructured my mind, right? Like literally restructured the way I see life. The second thing was that I watched a series. I don't know if it's available. I bought it. At that time, you could buy things on Amazon and import. I bought the DVD pack long ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And it was called The Men Who Built America. If you haven't watched The Men Who Built America, I don't know where you can find it, but look for it and watch it. It used to be a CD pack of the people who made the investments that created what we refer to as America today. So John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, and there's a fourth person. If I remember the person's name, I'll say the person's name. Who? Maybe Henry Ford, I can't remember. So you have to sit down with yourself and understand how you function, your why. And I'm not asking you to do anything esoteric. I'm not asking you to just sit with yourself. Remember, I quoted Isaiah 30 verse 15. Just sit with yourself and ask yourself, why? What do I want? What am I pursuing? Why am I pursuing it? Is it because for some people, and the reason I'm talking about this is, it's called building bridges and pathways to success. For many people, your definition of success is something you saw somewhere. It's not really, doesn't mean anything to you. Let me give you an example with myself, right? I value impacting people's lives. I genuinely value it. There are places that I go to regularly and speak regularly because for me, it's not a heavenly reward. It's not because I think Jesus is going to give me a special crown. Personally, as a person, that opportunity to share with people and help people, I genuinely find it useful to me. You can even consider it selfish, right? That's what has meaning for me. A G-Wagon doesn't have that much meaning for me. If you dash me, I will collect, right? But it doesn't have that much meaning for me. It doesn't mean I am better than the person for whom it has meaning. Do we understand what I'm saying? It doesn't mean for somebody else, wealth is how for them, that's how they define their success. Allow whatever you believe for your own life. Don't disturb people, right? But make sure that what you believe is coming from inside you. There are people for whom success is a happy family. That is what success is. So when they are wide, the reason they go out every day and they are hustling and trying and building and doing the entrepreneurship is because I want to give my children a good life. I want to give my wife or my husband a good life. That is really, really what drives them. So a time can come in that journey where they say, yes, I can scale this business from a 100 million naira business to a 10 billion naira business. But if I scale it to a 10 billion naira business, it will take me away from my family, and my family is my why. Is everybody with me? So you may see that person operating in their 100 million naira business, and you can judge them that this business can be bigger. I have strategic advice. If they won't, why won't they? You don't understand that for them, success is not your own definition of success. It is not everybody that has the same definition. It genuinely is not. I have met people that don't want to be promoted. I know that's a strange thing to hear. There are people working in organizations and they don't want to be promoted. I know people who go in for meetings and say, at the end of the year, my feedback is great, pay me extra bonus, don't promote me. Because they understand it is maybe in this climb that we assume, you must be promoted every year or you must be promoted. That's how you say, I'm a senior manager. There are people who don't want that. Because they've looked at where they are, they've looked at the work they're doing. The work they're doing is meaningful. It gives them the balance that they want in their life. It provides what they expect a job to provide for them. And they don't want to complicate anything beyond that. Have I gone over my time? 4. Okay, so that was point 1. What I'll do is I'll go through point 2 and point 3 quickly, and then, and God will help all of us. So that's understanding yourself. Maybe there are people here that God really wants to say that to, right? I've actually even skipped a lot of points in that. But the second thing is that you must understand people. And the reason that you must understand people is whether they are your customers, they're your partners, they're your suppliers, whether they are government officials, at the end you're dealing with human beings. You must understand human incentive. Human beings, so there's a statement I make, and I've been making it for maybe the last 8 years. Human beings will always move in the direction of their incentives. I will repeat it again. Human beings will always move in the direction of their incentives. Anybody who tells you that they are doing something for which you cannot see the incentive is either lying or you are ignorant or naive. Let me repeat it. Anybody. I'm a Christian. I want to die for Jesus. No problem. Why? There has to be a reason. Right? Okay, let me not go there. But there has to be a reason. Whatever it is, a person. So if you are dealing with somebody, your first task is to understand, why is this person doing what they are doing? A lot of people make mistakes because they don't understand the incentives of the people that they are dealing with. Right? And I'll round this up very quickly. I can't go into it in much depth. But you need to take time. Why do your customers buy from you?
Like,
why? Don't pick a flaky answer. Find the real reason they do it. Why do they buy from your competition? Right? Why are people willing to supply to you? Human incentive is a very, very funny thing. Very, very, very funny thing. It's like the difference between luxury goods and your non-luxury goods. If you go online, there are many videos. They can show you that this same purse is $1,000. The same purse. If I put this logo on this purse, it's $10,000. You can tell somebody they are the same purse. It's only the logo I added. And you ask the person, let me take off the logo and sell it to you for $1,000, and they will say no. You know that, right? You understand the psychology of luxury goods. So if you understand why human beings behave like that, Nigeria is a very classist society. So if you understand why people behave the way that they behave, right? It gives you, remember we're looking at building bridges and pathways to success. It gives you an understanding of what and how to, point number 3, play the game. Right? The world that we live in is an interaction between us and other people. But that interaction is governed by certain rules. It is your personal, if you have gone beyond the age of 21, you must understand how the world system works. I repeat, you must understand how the world system works. I know that you are in command, you command your money, you speak and you order things, but let's first of all understand it before you start commanding it, right? For instance, they said, I had even forgotten, they told me that last year I came and I talked about the exchange rate, Abi. This year, I'm not prophesying, but this year, you need to look at the things that are going on globally and ask yourself that this yam that I am selling in Oshodi, for instance, how do the things that are going on globally affect selling yam in Oshodi? For example, what did I say? For example, somebody won an election recently. True or false? We are aware that somebody won an election recently. The person has been shouting what the person will do. True or false? Good. How many people in this room have looked at what that person has said and looked at what they are doing and tried to evaluate what the connection between what the person is saying and their selling of, I'm picking something that is very mundane, their selling of yam in Oshodi, what the possible impact can be. If you have, put up your right hand. If you have done it, put up your right hand. Why? Why? You know the Bible says that the children of this world are in their generations. You know that scripture, right? Why? Or you don't think that it has any impact? You don't think that when they say that they want to crash energy prices, you don't think it has any impact on you? You don't understand what energy prices are. You don't know that if energy prices go down, the income to your country goes down immediately. There's no consideration around that. I'm not speaking, I'm not prophesying now, I'm just talking about what has already happened. But did you follow what I just said now? The person has clearly said that they want to crash energy prices. Clearly, the person has not hidden it. Your country's major income comes from selling crude oil, at least the government's income, right? So if prices are crashed, it means income to your government may go down. May, we're not prophets here, we're just saying may. Now, if they go down, have you sat down to think of what the impact to you could be? Good. That is what is called understanding the game. You have to sit down. You see, let me say something, and I know I've gone over my time. Godwin. Where is Godwin? Sir. Okay, he's not. Please, can I beg so that I can round it up neatly? Is that okay? Please. I'll be very quick, but I'm on the third point already, but I don't want to just rush through it, right? You can't afford to stumble through life. There are many things that happen that I wrote another question here. How many people in this room are, as they stand now, ready for another COVID? From a business perspective, that if tomorrow something happens and they shut down travel, that your business will survive. Why? Sometimes, I can't remember who was cracking it. Sometimes I think God is even shocked at us. Right? We're not even talking about the seventh heaven. We're talking about the one that is in front of us. And we're not reacting. Now let me say something, because I said the third one is how the spiritual overlays it. I'm not going to go into as much. In fact, let me close my phone, because the more I see things, the more I want to talk. So it is easier for you to pray. And so, for instance, there's a difference between saying, "Oh Father, enlarge my business. Oh God, enlarge my business. Make me prosper. And going to God and saying, "God, this man that just won election, this is what he said. Father, this is yam I'm selling in Oshodi. Holy Spirit, can you open my eye to see what I can do, what I need to do, what may possibly happen, how to react." Those two prayers are very different prayers. And if you have ever prayed the second type of prayer, you will know that the answer comes faster. Is everybody hearing me? When you approach God with intent, showing that you have done your homework, the answers come better. Not even because God is not speaking to those who have not done their homework, but because it is easier for you to identify it when the answer comes, because you are praying properly. I think I gave this example last year. When COVID started, at the very beginning, the February of that year, I saw it on the news. It was on CNN. By that time, they were still saying, we're seeing it in China, it's beginning to spread. But it was clear that it was spreading and there was no response. Everybody could see that. But I remember where I was standing when I heard that news. And at that time, I knew what to do to gain an advantage from what was about to happen. And I didn't do it. I watched the news like everybody, and I moved on like everybody. And I told myself after that I will pay attention to life. I will understand the game. Right? This year is 2025. This year is 2020. What's next year? 2020. What's next year? Good. What happens in 2026? Somebody said it now. So the preparation for the election starts. Do you have a consideration about 2025 that takes into perspective the fact that 2026 will be an extreme electioneering year, particularly given the reality of what is happening in Nigeria? No, I'm not asking. Do you do it? Are you having that as you are preparing your plans for 2025? Are you taking that into consideration? Right? So that is what I mean by understanding the game. You can't afford to just be saying left, right, and center. You can't afford that your reaction to things is when they happen. This is, again, just to be clear, this is just the first level. We have not now gone to, you prayed, and then God is now showing you something to come. If you don't understand, Jesus Christ said something. He said, and I'm rounding up. He said, you see the clouds. This is one of my favorite scriptures because it guides me. Jesus said, you can look at the clouds and tell what is coming. How is it that you cannot interpret some of these things? Some of us, we go out and we just look up and we say, it's likely it's going to rain. Let's start doing this. What are the clouds in Nigeria today? What are the clouds over your business? What are the clouds over your business idea? Have you paid attention? Have you looked? Have you considered? Have you asked? Have you gone to people? Have you prayed about those clouds? So, finally, in building bridges and pathways to success, obviously we all know that there is a God dimension. But the reason why I've taken the time to explain the first three, understanding yourself, understanding people, and understanding the game, is because this is a church event, right? And there is a tendency, like I shared in the example of the prayers, to give God work that God will not collect. Are we all following? It is your responsibility to come to God showing that you respect Him. Let me give you an example. There are many times, if you talk to somebody who understands, if they say, come and see Governor Sanwo-Olu, there are many people who want to go and see him and say, if anything, my breakthrough has come. The governor said I should come and see him. Now, if you speak to a wise person, I've had the opportunity to be in touch with a few people in that situation, and I say to them, when they say, okay, so what can we do for you? Do you know what people say? Who can guess? They either say anything or they ask for money. That's the worst possible thing to do in that scenario. Worst. You just sound like a fool. You go with something specific that is of value to them. We know you will make money from it. But one, it is specific. Two, it is valuable to the person. Governor, I noticed that, on this particular axis or on this particular road, there is this problem and it's affecting the electorate this way. If we can put together something where we're able to solve that problem, it will be something that specific, clear. this is it, this is how much it will cost, this, that. So he can give you a yes or a no. You say anything, I don't know if they do it, but they just package 50,000 naira, new notes, put it in an envelope and give you as transport, and you go home. That's the end of that conversation. Now, if you would not go before a king of the earth unprepared, why would you go before God concerning your business unprepared and just be saying generic things? Does everybody understand? Is everybody following me? It's a different conversation to say to God, bring me customers, or I want customers, and to say to God, Father, I have gone through the customers that you have already sent to me, and I have noticed that this is the underlying factor that applies to all of them. Can you open my eyes to see where other customers that have this same challenge are? That second prayer, you prayed like that, your answer will come quickly. The one of all, I'm calling them, they're coming. Well, good luck to you. Thank you very much.
Keep clapping, please. We had promised every one of you that this is packed, and this is just one major conversation before the main conversation itself would happen, right? I would like to engage every one of us in an exercise, because again, this is an event that you should connect to someone, get to know someone. And I want to do it a bit differently, because I realize that a good number of us go to events and we just do, what is your name, what do you do, and then most likely exchange contact. And what happens is that contact remains just contact. It doesn't go past contact, right? Until something is being exchanged, you guys are just contact. There's nothing more. So to your left, to your right, I will do this. Speak to someone to your left or your right first. Tell them your full name. Tell them what you do. And tell them one thing you do that has made this year really great for you with regards to what you do. So an example for me is, my name is Benedict Dias. I am a founder of Business Be Africa, and one major thing my team and I did was that we wrote an email to a corporation and then they rejected it. It was again, I promise you, the email was, the fact that they responded to us